And welcome to another edition of News from the Block, the Adopt the Block Outreach Center. My name is Mark Thompson, and I am the director of the Adopt the Block Outreach Center. I can't even contain my excitement for two reasons today. The first reason is our 818 Benny Street Adopt the Block Outreach Center is almost near completion. The office section will be done by the end of this month, April, and then followed by that, we will start construction on the almost 5,000 square feet community center, food pantry, all-purpose building. It's going to be just what the community needs, and we're just so excited and blessed that this is really coming to fruition. We definitely want to thank the Delmarva Veterans Builders for how they have been working on this project. God blessed us with good weather during the winter months, so if you're not doing anything, drive over by 818 Benny Street and you'll see the home of the Adopt the Block Outreach Center. But also today, I'm excited because we're here live in the PAC 14 studios, and I'm here with a special guest. His name is, and I want to make sure I get it right, it's Brett Sanders, and he is the Housing and Homeless Manager for the Housing and Community Development of the City of Salisbury. Help me welcome Brett Sanders.
Thank you for having me, Mark. I appreciate it.
Brett, I'm so delighted to have you. Now, I've been in Salisbury for a long time, and some of our viewers, when they say Brett Sanders, it may be familiar, it may not. Tell us about, how did you get to Salisbury?
Sure. So many years ago, I was a student at Salisbury University studying conflict resolution. And when I graduated, I went back home to Anne Arundel County. And after having a family and starting that up, my wife and I were looking for some place to move to, and we saw this service project for Ann Street Village and thought it would be a great mission to support. So we took that faith leap and came back to Salisbury.
Well, we're happy to have you, and this is what it's all about, coming back to the community. We're at Salisbury University, and now you're coming back. Now, you just mentioned something, and that's what we're here for, News from the Block. We want to talk about this special project that has taking wings now. It has sprouted, and it's on Ann Street, and it's called the Ann Street Village Project. What can you tell us something about Ann Street Village? What is it?
Sure. So Ann Street Village is designed to be a transitional housing program for folks who are experiencing chronic homelessness in the Wicomico County area. And we're targeting folks who have been outside for the greatest amount of time. We have clients who've been outside for 15 and 10 years. And we want to give them a chance to have a place to get out of their fight or flight mode, get settled in, and get connected to resources and start working on a plan to attain permanent housing in the future. That's
incredible. And I think, we see it all the time in the news about the homeless rate, and especially now after, I say, what's this, post-pandemic, or
yes.
Virus during the pandemic, people are out in the streets more now, being evicted from homes. So Ann Street Village took shape. How did this all start?
Sure. So my predecessor and our former mayor, Jake Day, had conversations about what to do about this growing problem of homelessness. And our current director, Ron Strickler, took the team then down to Texas to view a growing village that had multiple phases of this model of creating a transitional or permanent housing solution. And upon their return, the mayor was excited about the news he got and what they reported back, and just decided very quickly that we were going to fund this and figure out a way.
Wow. So this isn't really something that's new. It's going around the country. So when we talk about Ann Street Village, what does it look like for our viewers when they say Ann Street Village? What does it look like?
So Ann Street Village, if you've driven by or seen it on the news, the buildings are all painted very bright, and it's supposed to create a warm, inviting environment. And we've sort of designed this program where we'll have the units for folks to live in independently, which is a change from your typical homeless shelter environment. And we'll also have a bathroom and shower trailer on site with 4 independent shower bathroom stalls for folks to, maintain their personal hygiene. And the program itself is designed to be transitional. So it has 3 tiers. And in the first tier, folks will just be getting acclimated, getting used to, being outside for so long. It takes some time to get back inside and get comfortable with those daily living skills.
Well, let's stop right there, because, and we'll go through each tier. But it's something different from people understanding homelessness. And when you said get them acclimated to living in a building or just living in a environment where it's not out on the street, is that what you mean?
Yes, yes. If you look through the different research and programming from other programs around the country, you'll find many different strategies for helping folks find comfort in that new space. Often when you're used to being in the wide open spaces, just your perception of life is a little different than what you and I might consider to be our daily life experience.
Yeah.
So we want to give folks time and support to get used to that feeling of being safe and secure again.
Well, I think that's sometimes things that we take for granted where we go into a home and we've been there all of our lives like that. But you'll be working with, is it men, women, or is it a mixture?
It will be a mixture. We're a low barrier program, and we want to make sure we're not discriminating against any, man, woman, color, creed, religion. So everyone that qualifies is welcome.
Okay. And so again, these were people that were out on the street, living in tents. We call it tent cities. I think our viewer audience is familiar with that term, tent cities. So now, how would someone that's on the street want to get into the program?
So we're trying to, go out and do street outreach. Our division, that's a big piece of what we do. We have one specific case manager, Mr. Joe Rufo, who does street outreach. That's the majority of his job. And we also collaborate with all of the homeless service providers in the area to develop a understanding of who's outside and who's most in need of services in a resource like this.
So again, this is the tier one, is to go out in the community where people are staying and invite them to come in to a place. So now what's the next step once you go out in the community and bring them in?
Yes, so after that first acclimatization period, we really want to start working towards developing SMART goals. So those are just structured goals designed to eliminate the barriers that have limited access to permanent housing. And we also have a program with Miss Joan Harris. She facilitates our critical time intervention program. And that's a federally funded grant program where Miss Harris takes folks from before they enter permanent housing and then through 9 months of permanent housing, tracking their growth and development and making sure that we have aftercare plans for folks when they graduate from the program, so there's still stability moving forward when she's removed from their path to housing. So in that second tier, they'll be introduced to critical time intervention connected to mental health, physical health, addiction services if need be, and then start working towards employment goals, or for folks that are beyond their employment years, trying to find healthy day communities, volunteer opportunities, so we can reintegrate folks into, the community that is healthy and vibrant and supportive.
Yeah. So when we look at our homeless population here in Salisbury, and I know it's different, city to city is different. Is our case here in Wicomico County, Salisbury, mental health, or is it drug addiction? What do you see?
It's a good mix of both. I shouldn't say a good mix, but you know what I mean. So a lot of our clients do struggle with mental health, and there are those where there are co-occurring circumstances where the mental health leads to self-medication, or self-medication has mental health issues have arisen from that addiction.
So, and these are questions that I hear on the street too when I'm out and we talk about Ann Street Village. One of them is, well, how long will they stay? Is this going to be something enabling them just to stay in a place forever?
So that was one of our biggest fears, because if you do look around the country, a lot of these pallet shelters, it may look like that when you look at YouTube or online, and we want to communicate to folks that our goal is to have folks transitioned in 12 months, but we do understand that some of our clients, it may take 2 years to obtain an identification card. So we don't want to set that 24-month mark if we know there's someone who has a longer journey than that. So we'll be definitely checking in to make sure that each individual is given the time and care they need to do this properly.
Yeah, and that's important, that time and care that you're talking about. I think sometimes in the community members, we're not sure what it means to be homeless. We just see people on the street corner begging for money. but there are some mental health issues. There's drug addiction and alcoholism. Do you have some programs now already set up for that, or are you looking for some agencies to partner with you?
We have a few close agency relationships. Actually, Homes for Hope, local recovery agency that provides, inpatient, and outpatient care and recovery housing. They've offered to partner with us to help us sort of staff our site with an RA, peer support specialist, peer recovery specialist. And we also are working closely with the COAT team, with the Recovery Resource Center to try to bring those resources in. And we're open to talking to other providers in the area because we know that everything's not a perfect fit for everybody. So we want to have as many resources as possible there so we can find something for everyone.
Okay. And if you just joined us, this is News from the Block. The Adopt the Block Outreach Center is bringing our special guest into the PAC 14 studios this day, and it's Brett Sanders. And he is, I want to say his title, he is the Housing and Homeless Manager for the City of Salisbury, the Ann Street Village in particular, if you're just joining us. So bringing them into the village, again, providing them resources. So let's go back a little bit and talk about that home, that house. That I've seen it on TV, and we'll have pictures to show. But how big are they?
Oh yes, so it's a 10 by 10 space, and the roof is a little loftier than you'd think from the pictures. And to test it out, we actually had one of the guys on staff who's about 6'2", up in the upper 200s, go ahead and lay down on the bed, and he was perfectly comfortable. And on the inside, we'll have a microwave and a mini fridge, a pretty sturdy chair and a small table. And there'll be curtains for privacy, and we've had community members donate all of these furnishings, which has been a blessing, honestly, because this is a huge effort to try to cover all the expenses. And there are also community members and organizations donating welcome items or welcome bags. So folks, when they come in, they have their detergents, their shampoos, toothbrush, and all of those things. So we're making sure that, when folks come in, they're equipped with everything you'd imagine a college freshman having when they move into their dorm room.
Okay, so you can imagine, and I guess that's the best way to look at this. It's like a dorm room experience. So you said they move in and they have the products. You mentioned about what's the washroom?
Oh, yes.
What is that?
We purchased a mobile shower trailer unit. And what that is what you would imagine out on a work site somewhere where for people to get washed up after working, and they have 4 private individual shower, toilet, and sink stalls.
Oh, okay.
So folks, anytime during the day at their, when they're comfortable, can go and get cleaned up. If they're coming back from work, they have access to that 24/7.
Wow. And I know we have like Halo and the Christian Shelter, Diakonia. We have homeless shelters around the area. What makes Ann Street Village different?
So I think there's a few things. The first is that it's decongregate. That was a big point of purchasing these pallet shelters, is so every person could have a space that's private to sort of start to feel, empowered again. And another piece is that while we will be allowing guests on site, there will be guest hours, but our participants can come and go as they please. That way, if they are working overnight hours, our curfew hours don't impact their ability to earn an income and become independent. And also, we have several case managers that will be on site daily throughout the work week, and overnight peer support to help triage any problems that are coming up and really help problem solve. Very close in an intimate environment. That way folks feel supported in trying to transition back to permanent housing.
You mentioned that term, and you were a college student, like a dormitory. First of all, how many units are there, and will there be someone on site who's like the RA?
Yes.
Resident advisor?
Absolutely. So there's 23 units on site, and the 24th unit is designated for our RA. And that's where we're hoping to have a peer support person in that unit, hopefully through partnership with Homes for Hope.
Wow. So there'll be someone there 24/7. So you said they can come and go as they please. And again, this unit is located on Ann Street, and is there an address for it?
Yes, we're at 501 Ann Street.
501 Ann Street, okay. And I think if you live in the city long enough, it used to be that Linens of the Week was over there, and
Yes.
on Ann Street, right behind Grace Church, I think.
Yes, sir.
And the Christian shelter is right there on that corner. So there's 23 units. The people can come and go inside there. Going back to the kind of needs, what kind of things can, say myself, if I want to donate something, what are you looking for?
Yeah, sure. So we're most concerned right now with making sure that as time goes on, folks can replenish their hygiene needs, toothbrush, deodorants, and body wash, and also making sure that folks can take care of their sanitary needs. So disinfectants, sanitizing wipes. A lot of folks, contrary to what the public may think, do really much so appreciate cleanliness. So this is an opportunity for that. So we want to make sure we have an abundance of the supplies folks need to really enjoy that opportunity to really live a clean and tidy life moving forward.
Yeah, and I think sometimes that's one of our problems. Sometimes we sit back and we see homeless people and we criticize, and I always say, from the grace of God, there goes I. But so people can donate. If I travel a lot and I go to hotels and I have all that soap that's just piled up. How would I give that to you?
That's an excellent question. So once Ann Street opens up, we will have a shed on site, and we're going to schedule a day, most likely Tuesdays or Thursdays, for community members to bring donations in while we have a full staff on site to receive those donations in an organized fashion.
Okay. And again, our Adopt the Block wants to help, since our 818 Bennett Street, don't forget that.
There you go.
We want to be able to partner with you. Speaking about partnering with you on that, what about food? How do they eat?
Oh, yes.
There's no kitchen on site, is there?
There's no kitchen on site. So every unit will have a microwave. We do have a dream of, setting up an outdoor cook kitchen eventually.
Okay.
We've had folks inquire about that and being able to come in and cook on site. So that's in our development hopes. And we have a few partnerships around town where folks are volunteering to cook 1 or 2 nights a month, and we'd like to expand that to bring more volunteership in to provide more meals. And also, the graciousness of Adopt a Block will be very beneficial to our clients.
And I want to make sure specific, because we have the best people in this community that donate. So if you want things donated, maybe we'll put this on Pack 14 so they'll know specific items. So when we talk about food items, you don't want people to just come and bring canned goods and things like that to you, do you?
Oh no, that would be that might get overwhelming.
Yeah.
So we'd love to just sort of be organized about it. If they could call in and schedule a time, if they wanted to start bringing things in, we're more than open to that. We just want to make sure that we have staff that's prepared and ready to receive the donation, so we can have a good experience in the exchange. And we are going to enroll folks in flights, so we'll do groups of 6 to 8 at a time. And once that first group gets connected to all the resources, we'll go ahead and bring another group in, so it's nice and comfortable for everybody.
That is something else I heard about. So it's like the question was, winter is over now. What happened? Why didn't you have this open up during the winter? What were some of our difficulties you experienced?
So development in this post-pandemic world is a burden for developers and the clients. For developers, finding the resources; for the clients, finding the budget. And we found that we had both of those problems arise. But as time went on, creative solutions, became apparent, and we were able to get it together very quickly all of a sudden. And I'd like to say maybe a matter of 2 weeks, all the supplies showed up, all the workers showed up, and now we're just waiting to get our lights installed and our security system installed, and we'll be good to go.
Okay, so again, this is News from the Block. My name is Mark Thompson. I'm the director of the Adopt the Block Outreach Center, which is coming soon, 818 Bennett Street. And I'm here with Brett Sanders, a housing and homeless manager for the city of Salisbury. So people are in there now. So say we have 23 people in the project. We talked a little bit about how Joan Harris was going to provide some programs. If you looked at our community, what would you think is needed for these guests that are into the village that the community can help with? What kind of projects, or what type of services would they need?
Sure. So as far as services, we really have a dream of bringing in like a value for value donation system. So we will be asking for monetary contributions, but I think beyond that, things like mentorship, fellowship. If folks have a skill set or a teaching background in a specialty, a trade, making that available to our clients would be a huge help. Gently used clothing is a huge piece. You think about these social work environments, and in times past, you could go out and get vouchers for clothing from Goodwill or things like that. And services like that have kind of whittled down as the economic environment has changed. So that's a huge help. Just, good sturdy clothing that's not well worn, but still has some life in it. On site, we'll definitely need help as time goes on. We're going to have some beautification projects. We'd love to have some sort of community garden on site, and getting some guidance in that matter to organize the folks around how we could bring that sort of healthy living to the site would be great.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to give a shout, Pastor Martin Hutchinson. This is Mark Thompson calling you out. He's the Secretary of Community Gardens.
Oh, yes.
So we could get that started over there. So it's starting, the people are there. I think you mentioned there is no time limit that they can stay, or they could just stay forever, or what was that again?
So our goal is to transition folks in 12 months. We think for someone who has very few barriers left, maybe it's just getting a Social Security card, or maybe it's just finding stable work. Someone in that situation, we very likely could transition in less than 12 months. And for the folks that have a bit further of a journey, we're hoping 24 months maximum. And we do have a caveat worked in there where if it looks like 24 months isn't going to work out, we stop at 18 months and we check in and see what's not working, and see if maybe there's an alternative service that could really help push things forward for that individual, or if there's a service we can pull in to help keep that individual moving forward.
Okay, that sounds good. Another question from the community that I hear a lot is, what about safety and security? Not only for the people that stay there, but people say, well, what about security? Who are these people who are living there? So what do you guys have in place for that?
So we do have a few standards for folks who are coming in. For example, we cannot accept arsonists, folks who have been charged with arson, folks who have been charged with manufacturing and distributing methamphetamines, sex offenders, and seriously violent crimes. And we're going with a 7-year look-back period that's standard with housing right now in America. On site, we'll have a closed-circuit security system that all the staff can access from our mobile devices. And we'll also have a biometric lock on the front gate. So after visiting hours, 24 hours a day, you'll have to have a thumbprint to come in, or one of the staff would have to open the gate to allow a visitor inside. So that's really our hope. And plus the overnight RA, their responsibility will be to monitor that gate overnight while folks are resting.
Okay, so as long as you have that, safety and security is locked in place. Let me ask you this, and you sound like a great man, and you're doing great work. But do you have an advisory board, or who's helping you with all this?
Yes. No, that's a great question. And so the advisory board is something that we dreamed up when we first started developing the program back in March of 22. And the idea of the advisory board is sort of twofold. So the first is, like you said, to give me some support. There are a lot of moving pieces, and with me being so focused in right there on the ground, it would be great to have help from folks, from that 1,000-foot level to help me steer the program and give me feedback on what I could be doing better to support my team. And the second piece is that we want this to be a restorative environment. So if we do have an incident on site with a client that isn't one of those non-starters that would, is an imminent safety issue, it'd be great to have a team of people that could help us reflect upon how we could better serve this individual so they could still find success in the program. So the board would help us with that reflection and that restorative process.
Okay. Do they have to have any type of special credentials to be part of this advisory board?
So Our big goal for the board is to have a group of folks who represent in the professional world different areas of growth and development that our clients would need guidance in. So for example, we'd love to have clinical social workers, folks from the financial and banking industry that could help with personal finance, setting up bank accounts. We'd love to have folks from the legal system that could help us navigate expungement, or help us know what to do with someone who may have a very hard time finding housing because of their charges, help us being aware of what that challenge may be and how to work around it. So that's really the goal, is because we're really close to the clients, and sometimes you need other folks to help you understand what the paths are that can help the clients. So that's what we're looking for.
That's right. Well, time's almost up now, but I just want to close out. Is there anything that we've missed that you want to share with our viewing audience today?
Yes. The most exciting news we have is in the past week or week and a half, we've established the City of Salisbury Homeless Services Fund through the Community Foundation of the Eastern Shore. And that's a place where folks can go and provide financial contributions. And next week we'll be actually announcing the fundraising program that we want to move forward with. But that's all available online through the Community Foundation's website right now. And if folks are feeling moved, they could support us that way already.
Well, I always say, are we our brother's keeper? Yes, we are. And now's an opportunity for our community to step up to work and do great work for our community. We have the Community Foundation, which is a great organization. So again, we were here with Brett Sanders, Housing and Homeless Coordinator for the City of Salisbury. I'm just so delighted to have him in our PAC 14 studios this afternoon for News from the Block. Again, I'm Mark Thompson, the director of the Adopt the Block Outreach Center, which is coming soon, 818 Benny Street. We're just excited to continue our service to the community. Once again, we'll have all this information at the bottom of the screen, and after this show's over, that you can gain any other information. You can contact me on adopttheblock.live, our Facebook page. You can, and Brett will have his information. But again, this is an opportunity for all of us to come together to help our fellow citizens. Once again, this is Mark Thompson with News from the Block, Adopt the Block Outreach Center. We love you, and we'll see you next time.